Welcome back to Ear Training for the Working Musician. Today we're going to be on page 13 in your book, if you're following along there. We'll start with interval identification and notation. Right now we're still just working on the perfect intervals, the perfect fifth, perfect fourth, and perfect octave. Here's our first one, starting with bass clef E natural. Perfect fifth here, so a fifth above is a B natural. Here we have treble clef D. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So perfect fourth here. So fourth above D would go up to G natural. We're now starting on bass clef C sharp. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So perfect octave, just a C sharp below that. Now we start treble clef A. Here to here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So perfect fifth. All right, here's bass clef G flat. Here to here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here we have another perfect fourth. In this case, we're starting with a G flat, so the next pitch would be a C flat. The next line begins with bass clef B flat. To here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So a perfect fourth below B flat would put us on an F. Okay. Next we have treble clef E flat. To here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect fourth, so here's A flat above this E flat. All right, the next one starts with bass clef F. So perfect fifth. We started on an F and we descend down to B flat. All right, here's the treble clef C. Here to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So perfect octave. So we just write a C above that. The last interval begins with bass clef G. Here to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here's a perfect fifth. All right, so I just showed you basically doing the skill of bridging the gap between the two interval notes, which is something that you should definitely be able to do and work on. We'll go on to the compound meter rhythmic notation portion next. In this unit, we were dealing with simple and compound meter. On your exam that you'll take, if you were to take this class live with us, the rhythmic dictation portion is going to be in simple meter, but the melodic dictation portion is in compound meter. That's why I feel like it's important to also practice the skill of doing the rhythmic notation in this meter. So we're going to begin today in 6/8. I'm going to give you an eighth note as your starting note value, and then we end with a dotted quarter. Just a reminder, this is all going to be pitchless. You're just dealing with the note value. It says notate the rhythm in the space provided using dotted quarter notes, eighth notes, and ties. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go. Here it is again. 1, 2, 3, 4, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, set, go. Let's talk about that first measure. We had this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we clapped on beats 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I gave the hint that there's going to be ties, but there aren't any rests. So then you kind of just infer, okay, that's going to be held for 3/8 notes worth so that we can fit that many beats within the first measure. And it's important that we now, in compound duple, we need to make sure we show the groups of the 3/8 notes. So that's why these three are beamed together. Here it is again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go. Here it is again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go. bar 2, we had this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For this one to be held 2, it would equal a quarter note. This one is an eighth note. And then this one would be a dotted quarter note. Here it is again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go. And this one is tied into bar 3 for a little bit. Let's see how long. Ready, set, go. All right, yeah, eighth notes worth here, and then we have 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's how many times we hit within the measure. This is an eighth note's worth, so we'll group these 3 together. This one will go eighth quarter because 5 gets held into 6. Here it is again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go. Last bar we had this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. So this is held for an eighth note, and this is a quarter so that it can be held into the third eighth note. Okay, let's clap it back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll move on to the simple meter melodic notation portion next. For this melodic notation portion, we're now going to be in 2/4. We're dealing with groups of 16th notes and 8th notes combined, which we've been doing those in the last couple videos for Unit 2, so just check those out if you need a review. The key is G minor. Here's the key. I'm having us start on Do as an 8th note and ending on Do as a quarter note. Okay, 1, 2, ready, go. Here it is again. 1, 2, ready, go. Ready, go. All right. So we had this ya dee da dee da for the first measure. Do re mi. Do re mi. Then we had re, because it went back down, and here, re to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, re mi fa sol. Okay, so we ended up on a sol. Note value wise, we had this grasshopper, beetle, or 8th, 16th, 16th, 8th, 8th. Here it is again. Ready? Go. Here, just again, ready? Go. So we had this do, re, mi, re, sol. And notice bar 2 went back down to do. And now we have this do, re, mi, re, and then back to here. Re, do, ti, la, sol. Re, sol. Note value wise, we had butterfly, beetle, or 16th, 16th, 8th, 8th, 8th. These will be grouped together, and these will be grouped together. Here it is again, ready? Go! On the first part of bar 3, we had nothing, just a rest. Let's go ahead and listen again to figure out how long. Ready? And go. So only for half a beat, so now we have an 8th rest. Do, re, mi, re, sol, do, re, mi, re, sol. And this measure starts on do. And then we had this re, mi, fa. For this measure, do, re, mi, fa. This would be an 8th note that's not grouped to anything because technically it would be part of this 8th rest pair. And this would be butterfly or 1E and or 16th, 16th, 8th. And we ended up on sol, do. Let's sing it on solfege. Here's that do. Wherever feels best for you, but let's give it a try. Ready? And go. Do, re, mi, re, sol. Do, re, mi, re, sol. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, do. If you need to go back and listen to it a couple more times, that's totally fine. But we're going to go on to the compound meter melodic notation portion as well. For this compound meter melodic notation, we're now going to be in 6/8, starting on do in the key of A minor. We're starting with a quarter note, ending with a quarter note on do, the octave above. Here's the starting one. In the last example, we were dealing with G minor and we didn't have to write any accidentals, but this one we're now going to be dealing with different versions of the minor scale. You can have raised 6th or 7th scale degrees depending on which version you're using, so pay very close attention to those. We're starting on do. Let's give this a try. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go. Here it is again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go. And at this point, your melody can move by any interval that we've talked about. We've discussed seconds, thirds, fourths, fifths, and octaves. We're starting on do, and we end up here. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. So we had do, sol. And this sol is an 8th note that has to be alone, because technically it's really grouped with this quarter note here. Do, sol, and then we ended up here, sol, la, compared to sol, la, sol, la, and then we ended up sol, fa, just stepping, do, sol, la, sol, fa. These three notes must be grouped together. Here it is again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go. Do, sol, la, sol, fa. This next measure went sol, la, ti, do. For the first little bit, sol, la, ti, do. So that means la must be raised and ti must be raised. Here it is again. Ready, set, go. We have this sol, la, ti, do, sol, do, ti, la, sol. I also just noticed because we had the sol, la, ti, do, sol, you went back down to the same note that you just started this measure on. So you can always hold on to those anchor notes, as I like to call them. They're just good reference points that you can always check your work on. Note value wise, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this first three will be grouped together, and then this will be a quarter eighth. Here it is again. 1, 2, 3, 4, set, go. Some really great reference points to always be able to go to are obviously do, which is do, and then we have sol, and you should be able to sing those in various octaves, like do, sol, do, sol, do, sol, do, sol, do. Okay, and notice that's actually what's going on in the transition between the second and third measures. Because we have this sol, do, 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 ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. You can check your work. Sol, do. And we ended up all the way down here to the next do. Do, do, do here. Do, sol, do, re, mi, fa, sol. Sol, do, do, sol. Here it is again. Ready, set, go. Do, sol, la, sol, fa, sol, la, ti, do, sol, do, do, sol, and we had sol, la, ti. So these same notes just kind of copied and pasted over here, which means we must raise those 6th and 7th scale degrees again. We'll do 3/8 note groups to show the duplicity of this measure as well. One more time. Ready, set, go. last note that we heard before the do is that same T. And similar, anytime we have anytime we have a new bar, we need to redraw the T if it's going to be tied that way. So here we have this do, do, sol, sol, la, ti, do. This is held for 4 eighth notes worth or an eighth note plus a dotted quarter note. Let's try singing this on solfege. Starting on do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go. Do, sol, la, sol, fa, sol, la, ti, do, sol, do, sol, sol, la, ti, do. Okay, if you need to listen to it again, that's totally fine. Go ahead and give that a try. We're going to go on to the chord progression notation portion. Into the chord progression notation portion, the instructions say, listen to each musical excerpt and transcribe the chord progression that is repeated throughout. Notate each root position triad in the measures below with whole notes, as well as half notes when applicable. Provide a Roman numeral analysis below and a chord symbol analysis above. The chord progressions emphasize the use of the tonic, subdominant, dominant, and submediant triads. So that's just the 1, 4, 5, and 6 chords. And for these two examples, I actually don't give you the starting chord. I want you to try to figure out what it starts on. Let me establish the key for you. So here's the key of C major. We're in 4/4. I'm going to be playing more than just a bass line, but what I want you to basically do is just notate the triads, root position, building them up in whatever octave works best for you. We'll write the Roman numerals below and the chord symbols above. Let's give this a try. Here we go. I'm just repeating it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. So the first question is, can you find the do in this key? Here's the key again. So do would be do, and so we're starting do. Okay, so do can fit a couple of different chords. It can fit either the 1 chord, the 6 chord, or the 4 chord. But in this case, we have do, mi, sol, not la, do, mi, and not fa, la, do, mi, sol. So we begin with a 1 chord, which is a good chord to begin a progression with. Here's our Roman numeral 1. For the chord symbol, all you would need to write is a capital C, because it's just a C major triad. So one of the tips that I like to do is hold on to the C, see if you can hold on to that do while I'm playing the chords, because you'll find if it lands with a 5 chord, it's going to clash. It's not going to fit, because a 5 chord uses the notes G, B, D. B and D surround the note that's C, so it's quite dissonant to try to fit a C within that. Let's listen to it though. So hold on to the do. Here's the do. Do. So did you notice in bar 2, the C started to clash? So that means we're now on a 5 chord in bar 2. Do. The other thing you can listen for is the space line of do to sol. Do, sol. Do, ti, la, sol. So bass lines are very helpful to listen to as well, especially if I'm telling you it's a root position chord, because that'll give away the root of the chord if you listen to the bass line. Chord symbol, we just need a capital G for this. Listen for this bass line. So if we went do, sol, where does it go next? 1, 2, ready, go. Do. fa, which is that 6th chord. The submediant, this will be a lowercase 6. For the chord symbol, you write capital A for the root, but then you either write a lowercase m or a minus. It doesn't matter which one you choose. Here it is again. 1, 2, ready, go. So do, sol, la, to here, la, sol, fa. And this would be capital 4. We would write a capital F. Okay. This is the same chord progression as a lot of songs, like Forever Young. Forever young, I wanna be forever young. Or Champagne Problems by Taylor Swift. You book the night train for a reason, so you could sit there in this hurt. There's a lot of songs using that chord progression. The 1, 5, 6, 4, it's like one of the most poppy chord progressions that you could have. All right, now for this one, we're going to be in a different key, the key of A major. So here's your key. So the do is here. Hold on to the do as I play this. I don't give you the starting chord, so you need to figure out what that is. It's still the same types of chords, but this time the harmonic rhythm is going to be slightly different. The harmonic rhythm basically means the rate of which your chords change. Before, we were having them change every 4 beats. In this case, it will do 4 beats, but one of the measures you'll also notice it has 2 chords, so they'll be changing every 2 beats. Let's give this a try. 1 and 2 and ready and go. And so we had this starting on here. We were on do, do, mi, sol. Another one where we start on the 1 chord, which is pretty typical. Oftentimes though, I mean, there's other chord progressions where you begin on like a 5, 4, or 6 though, but it's pretty common to start on a 1. So we have 1, and you could obviously write this lower too, like it doesn't need to be in this octave. That's just how my answer key is, but you could also do it an octave below. Anyway, the chord symbol for this is going to be a capital A. So let's count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... The bass line's kind of nice too because it outlines this. Between the first and second bar, we have this do, ti, la, la, which tells us, okay, bar 2, now we're on a 6th chord. La, do, mi. Chord symbol would be a capital F sharp with a lowercase m or a minus. 1 and 2 and ready and go. Measure, we kind of have that same thing. Do, ti, la, la, sol, fa. So next bar we start on fa, which is our 4 chord. 1 and 2 and ready and go. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 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 and notice you had this 4, which we only held for 2 beats because then it went up to the 5. 5. So here's our half notes. So both of these are capitalized Roman numerals, 4 and 5. Chord symbol would be capital D, capital E. Also notice, you can tell that it's a 5 because if you tried to hold on to the do the whole time, it's not going to fit well with the 5 chord. 1 and 2 and ready and go. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So yeah, it's like really... right in the middle of that 5 chord. It doesn't fit very well. But then 4, 5 like steers off to 1 and have a nice strong cadence. A C sharp E. So going back to the 1 chord. So if this is feeling tricky for you, what I would suggest doing is go and listen to a whole bunch of pop music, old rock and roll music too, especially like 1950s music. Early rock and roll, I feel like it's going to be a lot of root position triads and a lot of the chords that we're talking about, so it should be very helpful. Like I say though all the time, this is something you need to practice at. It's ear training, so happy practicing.